Hey Quinn, David comments on week two, the needs assessment, whereas asked you two things. One is to compare contrast two models of needs assessment, and the other is, apply it to your non-profit, which is your own school. Um, so you compared those two sets of questions, which is so that's a very it's a very tight comparison, right? Because they basically seem to be doing the same things, and so yeah, I thought that was that was that it was a good comparison. I think one thing that you didn't pick up on, so I think I've got this right, is that the um, one of the models, the harness model, I think, talks about has one question about costs, right? Which is what are the costs of different solutions, and the implication being, is it worth it? Is it worth our while assessing this? Which trying to address this problem, which is actually a kind of a critical thing, and sometimes might get missed in other needs assessments. It's one thing to assess needs, that here's what people need, etc. But we live in a world of constrained by resources, so that's only half the question. The other half is, do we have the resources to do it, and what do we get? What is the best sort of bang for the buck, as it were? And the plan, do, check, act cycle is sort of a really part of, part of that sort of trying to figure out, can we get the most out of our resources? Are we doing the right things in the best way? But we don't, in fact, actually talk really much about the costs of the doing. But anyway, so that's I think a key point. The Your discussion of your own kind of needs assessment, or of the organisation of the school, it was good. It was like I'm pretty much saying to everybody, and I've mentioned in my announcement. I'd like to see you get more beyond, try to get as deep as you can beyond the superficial elements. And you're an educator, so you know all this. The So there was one line there, which, in terms of the founding of it, which was designed to serve the needs of the working families, but nowhere did you actually say what were those needs, right? And that's kind of the key questions. What was wrong with the existing school system? Why was it so? It's immediately popular, but like kind of I didn't quite get a sense as to why it was, what was the problem, and why was this addressing it? And it's sort of, and then you also, probably because you do this so much, it's so routine, you didn't really in the paper distinguish between, well, what are the student needs, what are the parent needs, what are we as a school responding to, um, as well as maybe even what are the teacher needs as well. What is it that the parents are looking at from a Montessori school that's not being provided by other schools, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not that different. I don't know. Do they go because it's the Montessori schools, curriculum and approach, or because it happens to be next door? Um, so that's kind of, and that those questions are important because actually you find that actually there are different needs across the community being addressed, and some people and different parents give different weight to different needs, and to have different needs and weigh them differently. And part of your role is sort of trying to juggle those. But this assignment was an opportunity to try to sort of spell out. Okay, we have this set of parents who do this, who think this. We're addressing their needs. With this set of parents addressing their needs. We've got these kids. Some of these kids have these sets of needs, these sets of needs, etc. And that's the sort of thinking I'm kind of looking to try to push, because that's what you would really do in a sort of needs assessment cycle. Sorry, I'm rabbiting on for a long time here. Anyway, so that I mean, you gave a very specific example about the foreign language requirement, but yeah, so that was good. But it's, what is the bigger picture here? How in fact do you actually weigh up those needs? I'm sure you do, right? But is it a formal process, informal process? You sort of do it because it's sort of all in your head, or that's kind of what I'm interested to know, and I want you to reflect on. Okay, but all right. Well, hope all goes well with this week. Bye. Bye.